Welcome everyone to the 2025-26 New Coordinator Training webinar series from the California Department of Education. Hopefully we're here to provide some guidance, some support, and hopefully we can teach you a few things that will help you with your new role. That said, my name is Paul Valencia and I will be your producer for today's webinar. And today we're going to focus on preparing for testing, and it's a continuation from last month's webinar. Before I send it over to the trainers, let's go over a few housekeeping items. First up, all participants are muted. In order to submit your questions during the presentation, please use the Q&A feature in Zoom. And hopefully, you don't confuse this with the chat feature. For all the webinars, we will only be using the Q&A feature. Second, a copy of today's resource guide was sent to you via email. Hopefully you received it. If you didn't, or you need to access it again, I'm going to go ahead and place the link in the chat. And I'm going to do that now. And when you click on the link, it's going to take you to a folder where you can download the guide and make a copy into your own Google Drive. Just keep in mind that there's no edit access from the links that we share, so you have to save it as your own copy first. Next, we are recording today's presentation, and there will be an archive of this presentation probably in about a week or so, and it'll be placed on the CAASPP upcoming and on-demand trainings webpage, and that is the CAASPP and ELPAC website. Alrighty, and with that, I'd like to introduce today's expert panelist, and we are always fortunate to have with us Jadine Jones from Sacramento County Office of Education and Joe Valero from Fresno County Superintendent of Schools.
All right, thank you, Paul. All right, good afternoon, everybody. Joe Valero from the Office of the Fresno County Superintendent of Schools. Let's talk about our agenda today. So today our agenda aligns with the success criteria for this webinar. So let's take a look at the things we'll be able to do by the end of each section. So today you will understand the California Science Test. We like to speak in acronyms in education. We always refer to that as the CAASPP with a T at the end. We're going to really dive deep, especially into high school as well when we're talking CAASPP. We're also going to talk about the accountability connections, technology readiness and support, communication plan, and we're going to have a Q&A at the end of the presentation today. We also want to take a minute to talk about some valuable resources for the 25-26 school year. The following pieces are included in the new coordinator training as asynchronous or on-demand pre-work. The pre-work is optional and is meant for those who need additional information. Pre-work includes 2 asynchronous videos included with the new coordinator training video playlist. The first video, Resources, covers agencies, websites, and manuals, along with flyers and other deliverables to support coordinators. The coordinator role video covers the LEA coordinator as well as site level and test administrator levels. There's also additional pre-work from past training videos. There's Assessment 101 videos, which give the who, what, when, why, and how of each assessment. And the Introduction to the California Educator Reporting System, once again, we speak in acronyms, that's CERS. And so we have CERS trainings, which took place in the summer and fall. So all of those were recorded. We're able to go back and we're able to watch those videos. The rest of the new coordinator training program is a series of monthly webinars designed to give just-in-time information. The full list of sessions is in the upcoming and on-demand trainings webpage on the CAASPP-ELPAC website. But let's review today and what is coming in the next few months. So today we're focusing on preparing for testing part 2. So if you were with us last month, you got to see, or excuse me, yeah, actually you got to see and hear part 1. So once again, today is preparing for testing part 2. In January, we're going to focus on support during testing. What does that look like? So that'll be the topic in January. And then in February, we will discuss completion tracking and security. So once again, before we jump into today's topic, we just want to remind everyone about a few excellent resources for coordinators. Links to these resources are in your resource guide, and we see Paul going over and adding the link in there. The resource guide lives inside of that link in that particular Google folder. So the first resource are the coordinator checklists. There's one checklist for each program for LEA coordinators, as well as checklists for other roles. What do we mean by that? There's an LEA coordinator checklist for CAASPP, and there's an LEA coordinator checklist for the ELPAC. Each checklist includes an extensive list of the tasks and activities that are part of your new role. The tasks are listed by month, whenever they're most likely to occur. But, keep in mind, locally, some things may occur earlier or some might occur later on. That's why you can edit it inside of Microsoft Word. You can move things around. We have some coordinators in our area where they download it and they add in a lot of their local protocols as well and their local assessments. That way they have it as a one-stop shop. It's whatever works for you locally. The second resource we want to really just showcase right now is the Coordinator How-To Hub. This is a page on the CAASPP and ELPAC website that collects all existing how-to resources and organizes them by time and by topic. If you're ever stuck on how to do something, it's a great place to start. All right, we promised we were going to talk about the science test, so let's get into CAST. The statewide CASP system includes federally required, let me try that again. The statewide CASP system includes federally required science assessments, and those are in 5th grade, 8th grade, and then once in high school. Since the adoption of the new generation science standards for California public schools, kindergarten through grade 12, or CANGSS in 2013, the California Department of Education developed the California Science Test, once again, we call it the CAST, which align to these standards. Let's take a few minutes to talk about the CAST and the California Alternate Assessment, or CAA for science. Students take the CAST once again in either 5th grade, 8th grade, and then once in high school. Now, in high school, it'll either be 10th grade, 11th grade, or 12th grade. Please keep in mind, high school students will only have one opportunity to take the CAST. Once again, it's a local decision, 10th grade, 11th grade, or 12th grade. High schools have the option to test any or all students in, once again, 10th grade, 11th grade, or 12th grade, as long as the students haven't been tested yet. And it looks different in different organizations. So one of the organizations that I am the LEA coordinator of, we have it locally established that we're going to do it in 11th grade. So we connect all of our students and we assign the test for them in 11th grade. Now, in my other organization that I'm the LEA coordinator of, it's 12th grade. And really, we're just looking at who has never taken the science test throughout their educational career. Those are the students that we test. It's a local decision. So let's take a couple minutes and get a little deeper into the science test and assigning the tests for students. So as we stated earlier, the science test can be administered to any students in, once again, talking about high school, 10th grade, 11th grade, or 12th grade. And all students must take the science test by the end of 12th grade. It's recommended that the students take the test when they are enrolled in their last science course. Students will only have one opportunity to take the science test in high school. There's a flyer called the Science Test Administration for High School Students, and that offers really valuable information. Some key takeaways from that particular flyer is if a registered grade 10 or grade 11 student has been designated with a medical exemption or NTE, or if they have a parent guardian exemption or PGE, the student will no longer be eligible to test in the future. Exemptions do not roll over from year to year. For example, if a parent submits a PGE for CAST, if a parent submits a PGE for CAST in 10th grade, but the school site doesn't take the CAST until 11th grade, The parent will have to resubmit the following year, if that makes sense. Exemptions can only be granted if a student has a valid test registration for that year. Students in grade 12 who have not yet taken the science test will automatically be registered to take the CAASPP. And that's honestly what we use over here in our organization. We just pull a report. There's a great report inside of Tom's. It tells you who has already been assigned the CAASPP in 12th grade. And if they're automatically assigned in 12th grade, that's because they never took it in high school. Students who are repeating 12th grade are not eligible to take the CAASPP. Remember that if a new student enrolls in your school, you'll need to make sure by the end of 12th grade that they are tested. So let's say they came from a previous organization, they didn't test them in the previous organization. It's up to the new organization just to ensure that the student is tested before they're finished with 12th grade. Also, the LEA level high school CAASPP and CAA for science eligibility report in TOMS is a valuable tool for managing test assignments. That's the one we were talking about earlier. How do you get it? Remember, you're inside of TOMS, you click on reports, you'll see that particular report right there. It'll tell you who has been assigned, who has not been assigned yet. The California Alternate Assessment, or CAA for Science, is also part of the CAASPP system and measures students' knowledge and skills in science. The CAA for Science helps identify and address gaps in knowledge early, ensuring students receive the support that they need. Only eligible students with the most significant cognitive disabilities, as determined by their IEP teams, can participate in this alternate assessment. Approximately, less than 1% of the population takes the alternate assessments. If a student qualifies based on the IEP recommendation, coordinators will then need to assign the CAA assessments inside of TOMS. There's a saying, all for one, all for all. Basically, once a student is determined eligible for an alternate assessment, they will take the alternate version for all standardized state assessments, including the CAAs for ELA, math, and science, or the alternate ELPAC, if applicable. It is recommended that the IEP teams review the alternate assessment decision-making tool for California to help inform alternate assessment assignment decisions. There's a link for this particular resource in your resource guide, and it's a great resource. We like to share that out locally with the coordinators in our area. The CAA for Science is administered to students in grades 5, 8, and once in high school. It mirrors just like the CAASPP that we were talking about earlier. The CAA for Science is aligned with the science core content connectors, which are linked to the California Next Generation Science Standards. The test is composed of 3 performance tasks designed to be administered throughout the year immediately after the student has received related science instruction. It's very different than the general CAASPP or the general science test, because that one's administered at the end of the year. The CAA for Science, and we're going to say it one more time, was designed to be administered throughout the year, immediately after the student has learned whatever that content is. The CAA for Science window opened in September and can be administered through the end of the year or June 30th, whichever comes first. For more information on the CAA for Science and Science Core Content Connectors, there are links in your resource guide. All right. Let's spend some time talking about accountability connectors to assessments. In this section, we will be reviewing the academic indicators, toolkits, and indicator web pages. This probably looks familiar to everybody right now. It just came out a few weeks ago. The summative assessments administered during the spring are reported on the California School Dashboard. You want to ensure you and your site coordinators prioritize test participation as it impacts the California School Dashboard. Prioritizing test participation directly impacts the California School Dashboard by contributing to a school's performance ratings. The dashboard considers participation rates as part of its accountability measures, reflecting the school's commitment to student engagement in assessments. Higher participation rates help ensure the data is representative, which is crucial for accurate reporting on academic performance progress, and equity. Low participation rates, on the other hand, can negatively affect schools' ratings and may indicate gaps in reaching or engaging all students, potentially affecting the school's overall accountability score. So what does that mean for you and your sites? If LEAs, schools, or student groups test less than 95% of the students enrolled during the established test window, their indicator results will be impacted negatively. Tests you administer in spring 2026 will affect the 2026 dashboard, which will be released in the fall 2026. If you're below the 95% participation, your distance from standard, or you've heard a lot of people refer to it as DFS, is calculated by using the lowest obtainable scale score, or LOSS, for the number of students it would have taken to reach the 95%. The same is true for science. However, a student's scale score is converted into science points. The links to the dashboard technical guide and supplemental flyer that explains the accountability rule regarding LOSS are in your resource guide. On the California School Dashboard, districts and schools that serve students in grades 3 through 8 and/or grade 11 receive two academic indicators, one for English Language Arts and one for mathematics. Student performance on the SBA summative assessments and the California alternate assessments are used to determine the results of these indicators. Each academic indicator is calculated using two components, distance from standard, or once again, DFS, and participation rate as well. Additionally, the College and Career Indicator, or CCI, incorporates 11th grade ELA and math scores as part of its measure of students' readiness for post-secondary success. Science has been added to the dashboard and now reports student performance outcomes on the CAST and the CAA for science. The science indicator will have a color, but will be for informational purposes only and will not be used for school or district accountability determinations this year in 2025. Each science indicator is calculated using two components, science points and participation rate. Participation rates begin with the 2025 dashboard. Let's dive a little deeper into another indicator, and that is the English Learner Progress Indicator, or you'll also hear referred to as the ELPI. This indicator, reported on the California School Dashboard, applies to districts and schools with English learners in grades 1 through 12. It represents the percentage of English learner students who are progressing towards English language proficiency. The California Department of Education measures progress towards English language proficiency by comparing the English learner students' results from the most recent summative ELPAC and summative alternate ELPAC to the prior year summative ELPAC and summative alternate ELPAC results. In prior years, the ELPI only reported results for one student group, just your English learners. But as of 2024, the English Learner Progress Indicator now includes a second group. Anybody want to guess which one it is? I'm going to pause. LTELs, right? Long-term English learners. That's the second group now that's part of the California School Dashboard as well. Ooh. And with that was so quick with the accountability dashboard. I wanted to go even deeper. But no worries, you have something even better. You have Jadine right now. And so I'm going to turn it over to Jadine.
Thank you. Okay, Joe. You know what? I'm having difficulty sharing my screen right now. So could you help me out with screen sharing for a little bit, Joe? Thank you for pulling that up. Appreciate it. Okay, so let's get started into this technology, the planning part of the planning side of the house. So let's see what we've got here ahead of us. So the technology resources are on the secure browsers are on the website, the CAASPP website. And on that website is all the information that you need to help get you started in preparation for online testing. So here you will find the resources for the information about managing your technology for the computer-based testing. So things like operating systems, secure browsers, system downtime, known issues, technical specifications and configurations, and the technology readiness checker for students, as Joe mentioned. We like to use acronyms. This one's called TRCS. So this webpage will be extremely helpful to you as you're preparing, and there is a link in your resource guide. So as a part of test preparation, you're going to need to ensure that your student devices are up and ready, and they've been updated with the secure browser and the Chrome applications. The secure browsers on the CAASPP-ELPAC website, and there's a link in your resource guide. And if we have a little bit of time later, we can do a quick demo there. In addition, you'll need to verify that your equipment is ready. So any additional equipment that you need. This includes things like headphones, where necessary, speakers, printers for printing on demand, speech-to-text packs. And then it's extremely important to troubleshoot prior to testing so you don't get in your testing session and then find out things aren't working. You'll want to work with your technology department to verify your systems are up to date, and then also making sure that your site coordinators are a part of this process. So confirm with your IT or tech staff, and finding out for sure what students need to do to launch the secure browser on their testing device. Like, for example, what icon do they need to select to launch the browser? Many of you are doing interim tests, so you're already familiar with this. But if your LEA is not implementing those quite yet, you're going to want to make sure that you have shared this information via training and screenshots so that the teachers know the process to help students launch the browser. One example that I have here at SCOE is students are used to going into their Chromebook and just launching Google and going to their academic websites. They can't find the secure browser in there on the way our devices are set up. So it's important that teachers know how to get their students to that specific testing browser. So let's talk briefly about the technology readiness checker for students, or as I mentioned, the TRCS. So navigation through the TRCS is similar to navigating in any online computer-based assessments. So the administering the check to students is optional. And if you know a student can handle online testing, then they don't need to do this. But consider using this technology readiness checker to evaluate whether a student might benefit from having a designated interface assistant or a DIA, designated support available to assist with typing. So note that some these are not available for CAASPP, and there's a link to the TRCS, or the Tech Readiness Checker, in your resource guide. And one other note on this is that in this readiness checker, it's sort of like a game for students, and they can go in and practice drag and drop, and you can find out if students know how to do this skill before they get into the assessment. Okay. Sorry, Joe, I was going to try to see if I could. Okay.
No, you're totally good. Just let me know. Did I go too far?
No, you are in the right place, and I think I've got it here. Right. Can you see my screen now for sharing?
Let me stop share here. I'll stop share.
Okay.
And I see your screen. Yes, I do.
Okay, great. Sorry about that, folks.
You're good.
So, all right, so remote testing. I'm just going to start out with remote testing is not available for the alternate assessments. This includes the CAA, California Alternate Assessments, and the alternate ELPAC, right? So remote testing remains available for students that are receiving distance learning, also known as non-classroom based instruction, and for those students who have been impacted by a catastrophic event, possibly fires or a health-related issue. However, remote testing is not available for the CAAs. So just a reminder on that. The CAAs, the California Alternate Assessments, and the alternate ELPAC must be administered one-on-one in person, right? You will need to identify which students need to be tested remotely and add their permission in TOMS. So this is extremely important. This is one of those things that you're going to need to do prior to testing. If your district or LEA is doing remote testing, students need to be given that permission in TOMS. And also identifying a test coordinator early on and collaborating with that coordinator and making sure that you have a comprehensive plan to make sure that the technology works, especially for those remote testing sessions, but the in-person ones as well. And you have clear testing schedules and adequate training for everyone. All right, so speaking of technology, let's talk a little bit more about tech support and what it might look like on your school sites to help you be successful. Because this is a computer-based test, so we need our technology to work. So as the LEA coordinator, it's a critical part to create a testing support plan. So working with your tech team, your IT folks, and by the way, you're going to want to make sure that your tech team, they could possibly be in your classroom while you are trying to administer tests for probably some troubleshooting things. And so you're going to want to make sure that your tech people have signed, if they haven't done the electronic TOMS affidavit, you're going to want them to sign the non-TOMS test security affidavit. And that is linked in your resource guide. So it's good to get that going. So for testing, and your support. You could develop your plan as a first day plan and then ongoing support. Typically, your first day rollout at a site is when you find out kind of what things we missed, what didn't we get prepped for. So there's usually a little more support that's needed. Some LEAs I know, they dispatch tech people onto sites as their rollout happens. Not everyone has enough staffing to do that, but making sure that your staff know who to contact when there is an issue, right? And then just remembering that at the beginning, you kind of get through those maybe some difficulties, and then have a plan for support as testing continues, what to do in the ongoing support. And then flexibility is always key, right? So just keeping that in mind. So now that we've been grounded in technology and our needs there, what specifically is needed for a student to test? So a student to take a test in either CAASPP or ELPAC, they're going to need their SSID, their student information number that comes from CalPADS, the SSID, not your local number, right? So your SSID and the first name. If a student has a 504 IEP or they have designated supports, accommodations, you're going to need to know those and have those in the system a minimum of 24 hours before you're going to start testing. They're going to need a device. So the student needs a device, and your test administrator or your test examiner will need their own device, because the test administrator or the TA is going to launch the session on their device. And then the student needs a device with a secure browser. So referring back to what I mentioned a few slides back, making sure that secure browser is up to date. And then headphones. Headphones are needed for the listening portions of it. And your TA or TE, they're going to need documents like the Preparing for Administration, called a PFA. The Directions for Administration, a DFA, or possible, and also the Test Administration Manual, that's a TAM. And then again, a device for opening up the test session. Fortunately, all these different things have been linked for you, so you can go back and find a PFA. Or the DFAs are going to be in Tom's Secure, but a PFA, if you're looking for that, you can use that search bar on the website. Right. As a coordinator, it's extremely important to stay up to date on when the scheduled downtimes are and maintenance throughout the year. So you can find a calendar of these planned events on the system downtime page in the CAASPP-ELPAC website. And if we have a little time in Q&A, I can show you kind of how to where to find these different pieces, but also there's a link for you in your guide. But if you want to learn how to fish, I can just show you how to get there. And as a LEA coordinator, it's extremely important to notify your staff about these scheduled downtimes and maintenance dates so that they can plan around these dates. This also has an impact. It could have an impact on possibly the interim assessments too. So you're going to want to look at the scheduled downtime and see what systems are impacted there. And again, there's a link in your resource guide to help you get to where that is, so you could get that information and share it. So speaking of sharing and communication, that's the next part of our test preparation, is focusing on communication. So it's important to understand who the key interest holders are, when to engage them, and how to communicate effectively to each of these groups. It's important to share your testing schedules with administration, leadership teams, facilities, your technology staff, your food services people, all of your key partners who are in this work together. There are departments like maintenance and grounds keeping departments who should also know about the testing schedule. Share it widely. Right? That's my recommendation. And you might wonder why sharing with maintenance or grounds. It could be they're doing some work on site, maybe, digging a ditch, using an air blower, weed blower, and you're going to want to let them know that's testing time. So hopefully it's something that can be done at a different time as to not impact while students are testing in the room. And then also communicating the school's testing schedules. So possibly posting them to the district website, the school website, and then giving your school district staff and your teachers advance notice of the testing date so they can plan appropriate. There might be orthodontic appointments or something going on, and a parent can schedule that at a different time, knowing, oh, that's CAASPP window. So before testing begins, there are a number of communication activities and reminders and resources to share with your educational partners. So one communication will be the notification to the parents about both CAASPP and ELPAC. This is a requirement per the state and federal regulations. Right? So parents should be informed about the test schedule. this is a local decision as to how you communicate this information. Sharing with them resources that they can access for information about the tests and links to practice tests that are available to the public. A link to the Starting Smarter website where parents can learn more about the assessments and the score reports and review sample questions. That's a great website too. Check that one out. Parents talking with parents about how they can, parents and guardians, how they can support their student during testing, ensuring that they are getting adequate rest, maybe eating a breakfast that day, reviewing test materials with them, maybe practice some calming exercises, how to help students work through that. Give them a general idea of when they might receive the student test results. And parents should be notified that if they have any questions about their student score report or the SSR, and this is late spring is when the SSRs might come out, spring or summer, but letting parents know they should contact the school or the district where their child tested. So it's especially relevant for students who transfer or promote from one school to another, maybe after graduation. And the CDE makes this much easier for us by they've created templates for us. They're available in multiple language, and you can use that as your starting point. Those are optional, but those templates are great. CDE has done the work for us, and especially having the translations already done, a great resource. And they are linked in your resource guide. Right? Joe, do you have anything you would like to share about the communication piece with parents or between parents and teachers as we're preparing for testing part 2?
No, main thing is just reminding parents that testing is going to occur, and then just letting people know the schedules that are coming up. Encouraging the students, encouraging their kids, making sure they're eating in the morning, different things like that. But nothing different than really what you're sharing.
Okay, great. Thank you, Joe. All right. All right, and that brings us to your homework, you say. So one last thing to do before we get to all of your questions, and just helping you to focus on, what do I do next from here? So here are some things. Confirm the grade level for your high school students that they will be taking the CAASPP or the science test. So will they be taking it in grade 10, 11, or 12? So you're going to find that information out if you don't already know. And then part 2 of that is identify who will assign the test in TOMS, all right? So making sure that you're getting that test assignment done for those students. Your next suggested homework is connecting with your technology coordinator and begin planning and preparing your devices. And lastly, locate the notification letter templates. They are posted on the CAASPP-ELPAC website. They're also on CDE. And so that gets us to the question and answer time. And Joe, did you have any that you wanted to go through before I show a couple things on demonstration?
You know what? So we've been answering some questions on the back end. Oh my gosh, there were some really great questions. So just once again, for the question came up about assigning the science test and we're talking high school specifically. So if a student never took the science test in high school and they're in 12th grade, they will automatically be assigned, the science test. Now, let's say that you locally want to, administer the test in 11th grade, then you need to go in as an LEA coordinator, or a site coordinator can do this too. They would assign the science test for the students, and that can happen throughout the year. So let's say that your testing window already opened up and you get a brand new student, they come into your school or your district, excuse me, and you want to test the student, you would just need to go in. And it's a one-by-one thing because you probably mass uploaded earlier in the year. Just go into the student, click, and then assign the test, and then give it time to push over to the test delivery system. Those were the main things that I was seeing on the back end as of right now, JD.
Okay, great. Thank you, Joe. And then I know I answered a question in the question and answer about when is the best time to assign for for science. And it's always my recommendation to get those assignments done before your testing window opens. But if you have students that enroll at any time, you can assign that to them. And then, as Joe was just mentioning, the 12th graders, they're going to be assigned automatically if they have not tested, right? And so there were just a couple things that I wanted to show you. I talked about the testing technology readiness checker and the technology web page on the website. So you can see I'm on CAASPP ELPAC website. And if you were to go over here under resources, and if on that drop down, right under there is where you find this technology, resources, and secure browsers, right? And if you were to click that, you find the information about the secure browsers. This also has the system downtime information. And then this is where you will find the TRCS information about the technology readiness checker for students. Right? And while I'm in here, I wanted to show you as well. So this gives you the system downtime information. So a quick, I think Joe uses the term, a quick down and dirty direct spot is if you click system status up here in the top right hand corner, you can go to system downtime and known issues, just a quick link right there. All right, the other thing I was hoping to show you is the template letter notification. This is also under the resources on the CAASPP-ELPAC website. And over here is the notification letter templates. And if you were to click on that, it takes you there. And then here are the state letters with all of the different languages and things here. So this is a great resource. These come from CDE. So I highly recommend checking those out, right? And then one last thing for show and tell is the Starting Smarter website. It's linked in your resource guide, but I highly recommend you check out the Starting Smarter. And then this is one of the resources for parents, and it's also good for teachers, right? So that is what I want to do there. And now if I could get back to my PowerPoint, that would be a good thing a minute.
Do you mind if I do a quick show and tell as well, JD?
No, go ahead, Joe.
All right.
I'll stop share and you take it away.
All right, so hopefully you can see, it looks like Tom's. Are you seeing my second screen right here? Okay, perfect.
Yep.
So we've been talking about reports. There are reports inside of Tom's where you can go, you can see what's been assigned, what tests are students taking, so on and so forth. And so what does it actually look like? So this is Tom's, and so this is for LEA coordinators. You've been hearing me talk about reports, reports, reports. So if you click on reports, and I'm going to zoom in just a little more so we can make this bigger, these reports are going to be super helpful for us. And so there are great reports in here, and I'm not actually going to download them because they do have real student information. But what you can see, notice I'm going down and I scrolled a little bit, you can actually see LEA level high school CAST and CAA for science eligibility report. If you click that report, download it, it's going to tell you who has been assigned automatically as 12th graders. So, if you're getting kids in and you're saying to yourself, oh my gosh, I don't know who has taken it yet, who hasn't, it's automatically here for you. So as an LEA coordinator, we can go in, click on reports, and just click on that high school CAST and CAA for science eligibility report. It's a really good report. The other report I really want to point out, since I'm already here, is you're going to see a CAASPP LEA level student test assignment report. Who in our organization has been assigned Smarter Balanced English Language Arts, math, the CAAs, the science test? It is all smooshed into one really cool report. Filtering is going to be your best friend. But go on ahead, click on that report, and all you have to do is just request new report. And once you do that, it's going to give you a report of which students are going to take which test. Now, let's say that, oh my goodness, you know what? I have a kid that I know I'm supposed to assign. I'm not going to go really deep into it, but all you would do is just click on students. You'd click on students, search for the student name, and then just go to test assignments. You'll be able to assign the student whatever test the student needs. So we just want to point that one out right there. JD, go ahead.
While you're there, Joe, could you click on students?
Yeah. So I'm going to click on students.
Okay, and so when you are assigning your high school students the grade for science, and if you are assigning the remote administration, right under the students is a little button that's highlighted called upload. Once you click that, you'll get the template to enter your information. And then if you don't know how to do that, you can go to the how-to hub and it'll walk you through the process of uploading.
Yep.
Thank you, Joe.
Yep, clicked on upload, and then you just choose what you want to upload, whether it's test assignments. We can assign students maybe we need to assign the CAAs. That would be the upload template we would use, or we would use if we want to mass assign science test. This is what I do. Doesn't mean it's right, but I'm terrible with queries. I'm horrible. I'm confessing, right? So the way I can go over and get my list of 11th graders, I'm going to go back to reports. And once again, I won't download it, but there is a student demographic report right here, LEA student demographic report that will give you from CalPADS whatever the grade level is assigned for the student, SSIDs, first name, last name, you name it. Really, the important thing is the SSID and the grade level. I just download that report, I filter it out, only get my 11th graders, steal the SSIDs, and then to JD's point, I just upload it. I paste it into the template, and
Genius.
I my 11th graders, and I don't have to write a query. I'm once again, confession, I'm horrible. I don't know how to do it, but I know how to get it easily from the system here. It's little things like that, little just shortcuts where maybe we don't know how to get the SSIDs. No problem, no worries. They already live in these demographic reports. So once again, use those reports. They're super valuable. The other thing I just wanted to point out really quickly was our colleagues at ETS offer some really fantastic trainings. And so if, once again, I'm over here, let's imagine I'm back on the CAASPP-elpac.org landing page. For training, if you go to the upcoming and on-demand trainings, you will see Connect for Success. And so if I open up that plus sign, you'll see the registrations popping up, and you'll see the different regions, Region 1, Region 5, Region 6. Over here for us in Fresno, we're Region 7. And so I know that, here's Region 7 right here, December 19th. If I click, I can register. So, if you're right now in front of your computer, hey, get to this website right now. And then, register yourself. They're great. But once again, our colleagues at ETS do a fantastic job of going over, doing live demos, giving us updates. And so those have been really valuable. And those were the two things that I had to share. I don't know if you have anything, or actually,
Okay.
I need to send it back to you, don't I?
Well, yes. And can I get one more thing in there? The
Yes.
person who had asked about where the postings are recorded, I
Oh,
think the person came in after Paul shared that. So
oh yeah.
it's on this page.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You just go on demand. And then rather than upcoming, it would just be the all trainings. Yep. And then we would just open up the new coordinator trainings. Am I going to have a scrolling party here? Scroll, scroll, scroll. There we
Yeah.
go. New coordinators. There we go.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that.
I'm going to stop sharing right here so you can take the ball.
Okay. Oh, I was going to say, could you continue sharing and oh, I have to take the ball, but I'll do it. Gotcha.
Nope, I can do that too if needs be. Oh, there we go. I see you.
All right. So, Paul, take it away.
Before we wrap it up, it looks like another question came in, and it looks like it's two questions relating to the Summit of ELPAC.
How many? Third through sixth grader summative ELPAC. I think the number is 20. Does that sound about right, Joe? How many could be in a room? But
I need to actually get that in writing. I'm with you on it. I think it's depending on the grade level though, because I know
okay,
there's a maximum for K2, I believe, but then third
right.
through fifth, I think it's Proctor recommended. But let me go over and let me see if I can hunt that down in the DFAs really quick.
Okay. As Paul and then the one-on-one testing in the same room. I don't know if there's regs written about that. Not sure that I would recommend that because it's pretty distracting. If you're having the speaking portions going on multiple in a place, but I don't know the regs on that one. So sorry
Is
about
that
that.
is that
That
something
might
that the success agents can
success
help with?
agent.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
I would say please reach out to your ETS success agent for the final answer on that one. Sorry
Yeah,
about that.
because we probably
Yeah.
won't be able to pull it up before before we're done here. That's a
Before
great
we're done.
absolutely.
Yeah, and just to reiterate what Joe had said, if you guys can register for those Connect for Success training, that might be your opportunity to ask the success agents. They're not just a great group of people, but they're very knowledgeable. So
Mhm.
definitely. And it looks like another question came through. Is there a way to see if students are using their embedded resources?
No, there is not. So we can only see whether they were assigned. That's the only thing we'll be able to see as LEA coordinators.
Okay, wonderful. Well,
And
thank you.
yeah. And a shout out to the success agents. They're bomb diggity. So
It looks like two more questions came in. So I think we have time to answer maybe one or two more. That's probably pretty close to the end. If you
right.
want to take a look.
All right. So on the SACE daily sync, it shows that it's happening every night, Tom. So yes, there has to be some action taken place for the like if SACE gets updated, then it'll get sent from SACE to Tom's, right? So
Yeah.
yes, it's when there's a change that's made that triggers that connection or that talking point there.
Mhm.
So you might want to go in and maybe just manually some of them if it's happening and you're not make sure you're getting them in there.
Can I add one more thing to that, JD? So
Yes,
with the SACE sync, we as coordinators still have to manually do that first mass upload. So
yes.
no matter what, you
Thanks.
have to do the manual upload first. Then after that first upload, that's when the sync will go over and overwrite essentially everything that is new.
Thank you for adding that, Joe. Yeah, that was a big aha for me too.
And there's another one that came through. Can a DAS, alternative school, independent high school, have a remote testing?
Remote testing is available still, so you would have to
Mm-hmm.
in the past it was automatic. I believe it was automatically available, and now it's not automatically available. We have to include that. You can either manually go over and add it to the student remote testing, or it would have to be, if you're going to do it for a lot of students, you would have to use the batch upload that Jadine was talking about earlier, where you download it, put in the SSIDs, and then it's remote testing, yes, and then that would get uploaded in or into Tom, excuse me.
Cool, thank you. And then there's one more. If we assign CAS to all 10th graders and a student is exempted for medical reasons that year, can he do it in 11th grade? If he doesn't do it in the 10th without
One,
an exemption, can he do it
one,
in the 11th grade?
once they already have the code, they will not be able to test in 11th or 12th grade. So the NTE or PGE would automatically it would carry over to all grade levels.
Wonderful.
What some districts have, I've heard people do is unassign it for grade 10 and assign it to that student in grade 11 if you're wanting that um, testing score.
Okay.
Hope that makes sense.
All right. It looks like one more came in. I'm uploading accommodations for each site, but it seems they get overridden. Is there
Yes.
a help screen?
So they will get overridden. The main rule of thumb with anything that you are uploading, whether it's accommodations, SIRS, you name it, if it's the same SSID, every time you're re-uploading the following day, whatever information's coming in new, and if there's a sync that's happening, whatever is the most recent with that SSID for the student, that is overwriting whatever was previously put in, if that makes sense. So yeah, overwriting will always occur if there's a sync happening or if we upload something. Great questions. There were great questions.
Yeah, great questions
Yeah,
today.
a lot of good questions. Yes, definitely. Okay, well, let's go ahead and wrap it up and want to honor everybody's time. And all right, we're gonna just call out a couple of trainings that are coming up. First, we have the new coordinator trainings. And on January 15th, 2026, the topic is going to be support during testing. And then February 19th, we're going to have the topic of completion tracking and security. And then our last webinar for 2025-26 series on April 16th, our last topic is going to be gathering feedback and preparing to receive scores. Also, we have the coffee sessions, and these are virtual sessions. They're hosted by CDE and ETS, and they offer a lot of opportunities for LEA staff to ask questions and get answers about assessments, training, resources, and more. And they're usually held monthly for most of the year. I believe the next one is scheduled for January 13th. And also, there's links to register, and Joe showed you and Jadine on the upcoming and on-demand trainings webpage. So you can see all that stuff. And also, I want to, Joe had talked about this, and I believe Jadine as well, but it's the Connect for Success. And ETS is putting on this, incredible series here, and all of the success agents from different regions, right? They're going to be talking to coordinators and what have you, and they'll give you information on deadlines, reminders. They'll do live demos. So just a great way to get some good information. And I believe next week there's going to be like 4 trainings. So please register. Don't want to miss that. Great group of people. Alrighty, and if you haven't already, we would like for you to sign up for the assessment spotlights. You can find subscription instructions in your resource guide. And for additional updates, follow the CDE on X at CDE Assessments. And you can also connect with CDE on Instagram. And you'll see the links in your resource guide. And that brings us to the end. We hope that this information was helpful and timely. And as always, we always want to remind you that you're not alone. You can reach out through the networks of coordinators in similar roles. You have your LEA success agents, you have CDE, they're ready and available to answer your questions. We do happen to have a post evaluation. If you could please give us a couple minutes, we appreciate the feedback. And with that, on behalf of CDE, my colleagues, Jadine Jones, Joe Valero, first of all, want to wish you happy holidays, and hopefully you have a great winter break. But thank you so much for being here with us, and we hope to see you next year. Wow, in January. So that said, sincerely wish you a great afternoon. Take good care, everyone. Stay safe, warm, cool, wherever you're at. Up here in Northern California, it's pretty cold. But anyway, take good care, everyone. Have a good afternoon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Janine.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.